Hello. I've gotten a lot of requests to elaborate a little bit on my Steadicam construction and design since I'm selling a universal joint and bearing, which is the gimbal setup for the camera. I sell it on eBay, so you can go there and purchase it if you're interested in building your own Steadicam. There's sort of a take from a couple of designs, my own, about 80% my own, the rest is Merlin and a couple of other designs. I use the Merlin configuration for the balance beam. That curved balance beam works quite well. While I'm on that subject, two things I want to say. You want a really great video camera. Canons are just terrific. They really work well. There's quite a few other companies out there that make some great cameras as well. And also, if you have the money and you're not interested in building your own Steadicam, then my suggestion would be the Merlin. It's worth every penny. It's a beautiful design, done well, extremely well engineered, just really a nice piece of equipment. But if you're like me and like to build stuff, and again, I'm an engineer and I have my own company and I manufacture quite a few different items as well. And I look at everything as from that standpoint. Is there a product here? Is there something here I can develop from it? So that's why most of the time I build. So anyway, here's the Steadicam. You can see I have a Canon Vixia high definition camera on top of it, and I'll move it around so you can just see a little bit of what it looks like mounted on. So that's the little camera that's on top. Three main components. You have a grip. You have your universal gimbal, which is the ball bearing universal joint. You have the camera mount, which is here, and then you have the balance beam and its weights. So Merlin has some great adjustability on their camera mount with some weights that you can move back and forth, which work very well. Again, that's a great product. Mine doesn't have quite that elaborate setup, but I can easily get to this point of perfectly being balanced, as you can see the camera there on the Steadicam. So let's start with the grip. It's a aluminum tube. I made it quite robust. I like something really steady in my hand. Thinner, smaller grips, or other designs work well, but I just happen to like this. I don't want to have a particular direction to be able to grab it anywhere, so I went with a perfectly round grip. Just worked well for me. I covered it in a thin 1/8" foam, which is wrapped around and glued to the aluminum tube. The bearing sits inside here. There's an aluminum ring and aluminum ring, one on top and bottom of the bearing. That sandwiches the bearing in the middle. It doesn't need to be really bolted in or anything. Remember, you're just moving this slightly. This is not something that's going to be on something that's moving rapidly where there's a lot of heat or a lot of friction. So anyway, that is press fit. The bearing, the universal is press fit into the bearing, so there's no need to bolt that up. It's a very tight fit and it's pressed in there. And this is the exact same identical Boston Universal aircraft bearing, all steel setup that I sell on eBay. I like the all steel factor. It can hold a lot of weight. There are other maybe less expensive parts around you can buy, but they're plastic and they're more the hobby style, which work quite well, don't get me wrong. I just like the more robust setup. Now I have a system here where I have a knurled knob which you can loosen and slide the camera, this whole balance beam and camera mount, forward and backward to get the center of your camera. So you can slide that back and forth, find your center, and that all works in conjunction with the weighting. And again, while I'm on, I just said weighting, you can go to Merlin's site. They teach you and talk a lot about weighting. It's a great little piece they put on there, just absolutely excellent for learning the weighting process, which is a little bit of art and a lot of science involved in the weighting. Okay, so that's that part. Now we're up to the camera mount. Camera mount, what I decided to do is make my camera mount sort of a quick change. So I have a knurled knob here which you can unscrew. There's a brass insert which rides in there because I made my mount out of plastic, and that allows you to slide the camera off, okay, and be able to just go and shoot. It has this track mount on the bottom, has a Allen 1/4-20, has a lineup pin which lines up, so it always keeps everything straight and the camera straight. And the nice part about that is when you want to use your Steadicam again, or any other thing that this will work with, which I have other parts and equipment that where this can go into, that just slides there. You can screw that back in, it locks into place, and you're right back balanced where you were before. So it's a handy little feature. I liked it. That's why I designed it that way. Just getting back to the slide of the to be able to slide the camera mount and whole front balance beam forward. You can see the track that's in there. It's a square nut, so it just locks up and you can slide that back and forth real easy. Okay, so moving toward the balance beam, this is aluminum. This is an aluminum tongue on here. I have 2 bolts here, 1 bolt here. I used flathead Allens, and then I capped them with cap nuts at the bottom. This was a piece of aluminum tubing straight. It was twice as long, maybe even over twice as long as you see it here. I bent this around a tree in my parking lot, slowly working it around into this shape. After I got it to the shape I wanted, then I cut it to the length I wanted. I flattened this end a little bit to match my flat aluminum tang, which I made and bent and machined myself in my shop. Came down here, I cut it at this point so you can unhook it. This bottom part comes off and the whole thing sort of packs up really nice. Goes in a case, you can actually leave your camera on it, and this will come together here so you can fold up your camera very neatly and put it in this little case and take it with you. At this point right here, which is the connector point, this is a weighting place too. You do weighting here, which is your swing weight. So that's critical in helping balance the whole camera and keeping swing at a very manageable level. A little bit of weight there makes the camera move very smoothly. And what I've done is I have added what I call my swing weight system, which is this. You can see it here. It's 2 aluminum bars. I happen to have some aluminum anodized material in my shop, and this weight, you loosen this knurl nut here, you can add more weights to this depending on the size and weight of your camera, and you could swing this weight out. And the reason you want to swing that weight out, or I did, is because, and I'll show you a demo of this real quick, is that if you see the camera now with the LCD screen open, the minute I close that, right, watch what happens. That swing weight is what keeps the LCD balanced once it's open. So when you're shooting with that swing weight open, now the camera comes right back to balance point. That's the swing weight. It's compensating for the weight of that LCD. So with that, coming down a little bit further, I have the weight at the bottom. This is the most critical weight. This is the one that keeps weight under here, is what keeps the camera upright. If you took this weight off, the camera would just tip right over. And this unscrews. It's got a real long bolt in here. And I can add various weights, which I made myself. There are groups of these little weights, which are here. These were just, I found these in a surplus place, and this was some very thick washers, and they happen to have a 1/4 hole in them already, so they're perfect. I just wire brushed them, cleaned them up, and then I stacked those inside this piece of aluminum tubing. I made a collar here, and in that collar is a nut 1/4-20. I did everything with 1/4-20. It just made it much simpler and easier since everything matched up. So you can add different weights here depending on the size and weight of your camera. So that just tightens up there, and again, it's a process of learning how to balance your camera once you've got it on. So each camera varies slightly. You may want to have a larger battery, so you want to take that battery out, you put a bigger, heavier battery, you're going to have to change the weights again. You may want a hood, you may want to mount a microphone out. All those things will change all the weighting. Every time you add weight, you're going to add some weight to it. So there it is. 3 main tools used to make this. They did 98% of the job. I did my 98% of the job with 3 tools. A wet and dry 102-inch belt sander. That's my go-to tool in my shop. It machines down everything for me. All sorts of surfaces, plastic, glass, steel, aluminum, rock. I mean, I do everything on it. It comes out of the glazing industry. It's really a glazing tool for the glass industry. They use it there. You can buy them at various companies that sell equipment for glass installers and people who work with glass. But it works with anything. That's my go-to tool. a bandsaw, and a drill press. Those are the three power tools, large power tools that I use in my shop that I built everything here with. Outside of a little bit of sanding, filing, and some stuff to stick it together with, I use a little bit of epoxy here and there. I epoxied the weights inside that system. And that's pretty much it. Some super glue, when it comes to plastic, works very well, and some taps and dies. But the main stuff here was all those three particular tools.